Greetings, wastelanders. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel for those of you who are new to my channel. Last video, I covered a basic Bloodied beginner build, and so I thought it would be a good decision to go over what I am currently using, which is a Bloodied Commando build based around crit. So without further ado, let's get started. I believe the best place to get started would be to go over my base stats. As you can see, I have 3 points into strength, 13 points into perception, 3 points into endurance, 6 points into charisma, 5 points into intelligence, 13 points into agility, and 13 points into luck. If you're wanting to completely copy what I'm doing, this is the best place to get started. From here, we progress to the specific perk cards that I will be using for this build. Keep in mind, I have several of the legendary perk cards unlocked. In fact, I have all 6 slots unlocked. I do not have any of them maxed out. But if you do not have any legendary perk cards at your disposal, then this build will not exactly work for you. That being said, you do not need to exactly copy my build in order to get a lot of the same results. There are always perk cards that are picked by different people that really it comes down to personal preference. So by no means do you need to have all of the cards or all of the points that I do to imitate it. So, under strength, I have 3 points into blocker, 1 point into sturdy frame for the armor reduction weight, 1 point into barbarian. Under perception, I have 3 points into master commando, 3 points into tank killer, 3 points into commando, 3 points into expert commando, and 3 points into concentrated fire. Under endurance, I run 2 points into ironclad, 3 points into fireproof, and 1 point, well, there is only 1 point, into radical. Under charisma, I run strange in numbers, 2 points into suppressor, and 3 points into tenderizer. Under intelligence, I run nerd rage, which is a must-have, 2 points into demolition expert, and 3 points into batteries included. Under agility, I run 3 points into evasive, 1 point into escape artist, 3 points into gun fu, which I find extremely helpful, 5 points into adrenaline for an insane amount of damage, 3 points into dodgy, which makes you very tanky considering we're such a low health build. For luck, we run 3 points into better criticals, 3 points into serendipity, which also makes you really tanky, 3 points into 4-leaf clover, just to boost our crits, 1 point into class freak. I would like to put in more, but I just don't have room. 2 points into starch genes, which is an absolute must if you're running mutations, and you should be, and 3 points into critical savvy. And that is all of my perk cards. I will say that I want to get rid of batteries included and replace it into strength with bandolier. But unfortunately right now I am switching over, or originally was, a heavy gunner. And so I have so many fusion cores and plasma cores on my character right now. It was just way too much weight to not run batteries included. I know I could just throw them down, but it seems like a huge waste of resources. I eventually will get rid of those. I'm probably going to sell most of them, and then I will switch over to bandolier, which will be much more useful considering I'll be carrying almost only 45 caliber rounds. But it is what it is. I will get to that point eventually. As far as legendary perks are concerned, I put every single legendary perk into special stats. I have 2 points into agility, 2 points into perception, 3 points into endurance, 3 points into intelligence, 2 points into strength, and 2 points into luck. As far as my weapons are concerned, I primarily use a fixer, but I do have a Bloodied machete that I use for any melee type events that I'm in. It isn't anything special, but it does have the Bloodied and the plus 50% VATS critical hit damage, which comes in handy. One of my fixers that I use is a 2-shot explosive that breaks 50% slower. I don't use that one as much as my main, which is a Bloodied 25% less VATS and 15 replenished action point with each kill. I find this one to be pretty awesome. It would obviously be nicer if it was explosive, but those are the only ones, or the best ones, that I've crafted thus far and have ran into. For my armor, I naturally have an unyielding set of Secret Service armor, which is by far the best in the game that you can currently get. The ones that I have, the chest piece has +1 to strength and receive 15% less limb damage. The left leg has 25 fire resistance and then grants the ability to breathe underwater, which, whatever. It's the unyielding more than anything that you want. The left arm increases my action point refresh speed and reduces my junk item weights by 20%, which is really good. And then the right arm also increases my action point refresh speed, and then once again, breathing underwater, not really needed. The right leg does 25 poison resistance and become harder to detect while sneaking. I don't actually have a sneak build, so that's not that important to me, but it definitely comes in handy every once in a while. It just occurred to me during the making of this video that my left leg, which I had recently replaced, I never actually put any of the buttressed or the other mods on that armor, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that real quick. I also run the shielded Secret Service Underarmor. As you can see, it definitely boosts a lot of your stats. It is a fantastic set of Underarmor, probably the best in the game. I also went through and unlocked the backpack, Tadpole backpack, and then I went ahead and got the chem reduction mod for that through Minerva, which is amazing. And then naturally, you got to have the fashionet beret because, it adds so much detail. It's all about how you look in this game. It's not about what you can do. Obviously, I'm joking. But with that being said, obviously the absolute most important piece of armor you could ever wear is the sexy swimsuit. So I'm going to show that real quick. But if you aren't wearing this, then you're just not doing it right. There's just so much that it adds to it in terms of sex appeal. Basically, the enemies just leave you alone because they don't even want to bother with you. They wouldn't want to hurt such a pretty looking character. But in all seriousness, you can definitely tell how much all of these unyielding and Secret Service damage stats boost everything. Like I have 537 damage resistance, 25 poison resistance, 25 fire resistance, 527 shock resistance, and 312 radiation resistance. And this isn't obviously power armor. This is just regular armor. But it is absolutely amazing how tanky you can be at 20% health. That being said, you are going to die a lot. It's a Bloodied build. But considering how low your health is, it is pretty amazing how tanky you can actually be. When it comes to food, drink, and aid, I really don't use anything necessarily consistently. I do make sure I use Cranberry Cobbler for the XP boost. But as far as like drugs and things go, chems, I use Psychotats every once in a while. Sometimes I'll use Med-X, and obviously I'll use Stim Packs because it is a low health build, so you're going to need some of those on hand. But overall, you really don't need that many chems at all in order to make this build work. just having something to pop, some extra damage like overdrive is great for me because it boosts critical as well. But I only really use those whenever I'm versing a boss. So one of the 3, nuke bosses. But 99% of the time when I'm running around in just regular events, I don't really use any chems whatsoever. I just make sure that I have my food and my water fully replenished so that I get the boosts from that. And then, as I mentioned before, the cranberry cobbler, which is easy to make, so that I get a little extra XP boost. But that's really it. I do use several mutations in this build. Adrenal reaction, bird bones, eagle eyes, egghead, grounded, herbivore, marsupial, scaly skin, and speed demon are the ones I use the vast majority of the time. There is some, you could say some other ones would be useful, but at the end of the day, I don't feel like they're really needed. But I try to minimize the amount of mutations that I use, mainly because I only have 1 point into class freak, and I try to avoid the negative effects as much as possible. As you can see, the special stats from the unyielding armor and all the other boosts that I have really do significantly impact this build. And if you know anything about bloody builds, that should go without saying. That is the main reason why people want a build like this. I didn't mention earlier, but you definitely want to run herd mentality as well, which I am running, but it didn't show up because I wasn't on a team. So I'll switch over to a team real quick, and then I'll show you how boosted everything is in its final state, which is very significant. And just to give you a quick demonstration, I'm going to join in on this event real quick, and I'll show you just how much damage that this build can do, especially whenever you get a VAT critical. You can easily hit 1,000 damage on a VAT critical. I think the majority of the damage I deal without VATs criticals is between 200 and 400 damage per shot, and then once I get a critical, it's anywhere between 500 and 1,000. It just depends on how lucky you are. But that pretty much wraps up this build and what I'm currently running. It is, just like anything, constantly evolving, and I will only improve it further. If you guys have any suggestions for me that you would like me to try out, I'm obviously open and willing to do any of those things as far as upgrades. I haven't figured everything out yet, but I feel like this build is very strong and can deal an insane amount of damage very quickly. Once again, I did spend a lot of time on this build, so if you did enjoy it or find anything useful or just enjoyed the content in general, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, that would be fantastic, because if you do, then you'll know whenever I post another video. If you have any suggestions for future videos, I am always open to criticism, both positive and negative, and open to ideas. Please comment down below. And with that, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.